Hello and a very warm welcome. My name is Armin and I'm so glad you could join me here on Hayat English Radio. Think of this space as your quieter corner of the world, a place where we can explore the beauty of the English language together. Our goal here isn't just to learn, but to feel and live the language. That's why I've curated a special collection of segments for you. In today's show, we will listen to two thought-provoking English podcasts that will expand your vocabulary and perspective. We will then step into the world of cinema with a deep analysis of a movie script, uncovering the secrets of powerful storytelling. We will also be reading you a beautiful story to spark your imagination, and to keep us connected to the world, we will have a brief update on current news. So take a deep breath and let the sounds wash over you. You're listening to Hayat English, and our journey begins now. You're listening to Hayat English Radio. Welcome back to Speak Fluent with Armin, the program designed to take you beyond the textbook and into the world of real, everyday English. I'm your host Armin, and it's great to have you with us.
And I'm your co-host, Lara. It's great to be with you all again. Today we have something really special. We're going to dissect a short but incredibly rich conversation between two friends. It's packed with amazing idioms that you can start using right away.
This is the kind of English that makes you sound natural and fluent.
Hey, Chloe. You look a little down in the dumps. Is everything okay?
Oh, hey Liam. To be honest, I'm at the end of my rope. I've been burning the midnight oil all week for my final exams, and I feel like I'm not getting anywhere notes.
I get it. It sounds like you've bitten off more than you can chew. You can't study 24/7. You need to take a break and let your hair down a bit.
I know, but it's easier said than done. I have this huge history exam on Friday, and I feel like I have to go the extra mile to get a good grade.
I have an idea. How about we grab a coffee tomorrow afternoon? Just for an hour. It'll be my treat. It might help you clear your head.
You know what? That sounds like a plan. A short break might be just what the doctor ordered. Thanks, Liam. I really appreciate it.
Don't mention it. We're in the same boat after all. See you tomorrow.
Alright, a fantastic and very realistic conversation. Let's start from the very first line. Liam says, "You look a little down in the dumps." Lara, what does this colorful phrase mean?
Down in the dumps is a wonderful idiom that simply means to be sad, unhappy, or in low spirits. It's informal and very common among friends. Instead of just saying, "You look sad," using this idiom makes your English sound much more natural.
Exactly. For example, you could say, "He has been a bit down in the dumps since his favorite team lost the championship." Let's move to Chloe's response. She uses two powerful idioms back to back. First, "I'm at the end of my rope."
This is such a great phrase to express frustration. It means you've run out of patience or energy to deal with a difficult situation. Imagine you're holding onto a rope and you've reached the very end. You can't hold on anymore.
Perfect analogy. For instance, after trying to fix the computer for 3 hours, I was at the end of my rope. And right after that, Chloe says she has been burning the midnight oil.
Another classic. This means to work or study very late into the night. The oil refers to the oil used in old lamps before we had electricity. It's a great way to say you're working hard and sacrificing sleep. You could say, "The project deadline is tomorrow, so the whole team is burning the midnight oil tonight."
Hey, Chloe. You look a little down in the dumps. Is everything okay?
Oh, hey Liam. To be honest, I'm at the end of my rope. I've been burning the midnight oil all week for my final exams, and I feel like I'm not getting anywhere notes.
I get it. It sounds like you've bitten off more than you can chew. You can't study 24/7. You need to take a break and let your hair down a bit.
I know, but it's easier said than done. I have this huge history exam on Friday, and I feel like I have to go the extra mile to get a good grade.
I have an idea. How about we grab a coffee tomorrow afternoon? Just for an hour. It'll be my treat. It might help you clear your head.
You know what? That sounds like a plan. A short break might be just what the doctor ordered. Thanks, Liam. I really appreciate it.
Don't mention it. We're in the same boat after all. See you tomorrow.
Excellent. Now, Liam's advice is also full of idioms. He says, "It sounds like you've bitten off more than you can chew."
This is a visual one. It means you've taken on a task or responsibility that is too big or difficult for you to handle. It's like putting too much food in your mouth at once. A great example is, starting a full-time job while studying for a PhD was too much. I definitely bit off more than I could chew.
So true. And his suggestion, you need to let your hair down. This doesn't literally mean to untie your hair, right?
Not at all. To let your hair down means to relax, have fun, and stop worrying about your responsibilities for a while. It's about allowing yourself to be free and enjoy the moment. For instance, after a long week of work, I love to let my hair down with my friends on Friday night.
Fantastic. Close reply is something many of our listeners can relate to. Easier said than done.
Yes, this is an incredibly useful phrase. You use it when a piece of advice sounds simple but is actually very difficult to put into practice. For example, if someone tells you, "Just quit your job if you don't like it," you might reply, "Well, that's easier said than done."
And she feels she has to go the extra mile.
This means to make a special effort or to do more than is expected of you. It shows dedication. For example, our hotel manager really went the extra mile to make our anniversary special.
Now for the solution part, Liam says, "It will be my treat." This is a key phrase for social situations.
Absolutely. "It's my treat" is a polite and friendly way of saying, "I will pay." If you invite a friend for coffee and you want to pay for them, you can say this. It's a very kind gesture.
And close reaction is perfect. She says a break is just what the doctor ordered.
This is a fun, informal way to say that something is exactly what is needed or wanted to improve a situation or to make you feel better. It doesn't have to be medical advice. If you're stressed and a friend suggests a walk in the park, you can say, "Ah, that's just what the doctor ordered."
Hey, Chloe. You look a little down in the dumps. Is everything okay?
Oh, hey, Liam. To be honest, I'm at the end of my rope. I've been burning the midnight oil all week for my final exams, and I feel like I'm not getting anywhere notes.
I get it. It sounds like you've bitten off more than you can chew. You can't study 24/7. You need to take a break and let your hair down a bit.
I know, but it's easier said than done. I have this huge history exam on Friday, and I feel like I have to go the extra mile to get a good grade.
I have an idea. How about we grab a coffee tomorrow afternoon? Just for an hour. It'll be my treat. It might help you clear your head.
You know what? That sounds like a plan. A short break might be just what the doctor ordered. Thanks, Liam. I really appreciate it.
Don't mention it. We're in the same boat after all. See you tomorrow.
And finally, the last two. Liam says, "Don't mention it," which is a polite way to say you're welcome. And then we are in the same boat.
To be in the same boat means to be in the same difficult or unpleasant situation as someone else. It creates a sense of shared experience and empathy. For example, none of us have finished the report, so we're all in the same boat.
Wow, that's a masterclass in idioms, all in one short conversation.
It really was. The key for our listeners is not to try and memorize all of them at once. Pick one or two that you really like and try to use them in a conversation this week.
That's the best advice. Practice is everything. Well, that's all the time we have for today on Speak Fluent with Armin.
We hope you enjoyed this breakdown. Join us next time for more tips and tricks to make your English shine. Until then, keep practicing.
Hey, Chloe. You look a little down in the dumps. Is everything okay?
Oh, hey, Liam. To be honest, I'm at the end of my rope. I've been burning the midnight oil all week for my final exams, and I feel like I'm not getting anywhere notes.
I get it. It sounds like you've bitten off more than you can chew. You can't study 24/7. You need to take a break and let your hair down a bit.
I know, but it's easier said than done. I have this huge history exam on Friday, and I feel like I have to go the extra mile to get a good grade.
I have an idea. How about we grab a coffee tomorrow afternoon? Just for an hour. It'll be my treat. It might help you clear your head.
You know what? That sounds like a plan. A short break might be just what the doctor ordered. Thanks, Liam. I really appreciate it.
Don't mention it. We're in the same boat after all. See you tomorrow.
We often wait for motivation to strike like lightning, a sudden surge of energy to propel us forward. But waiting for motivation is like a sailor waiting for the wind without ever raising the sails. True momentum isn't found. It's built, piece by piece, through deliberate action. The foundation is perspective. Every setback is not a wall, but a lesson. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's the data you gather on your way to achieving it. Use this data to take one small step forward. Then, celebrate that win, no matter how minor. Did you write one paragraph? Did you take a 10-minute walk? Acknowledge it. These small victories are the kindling that builds into a blaze, creating a chain reaction of accomplishment that makes the next step easier. What keeps this fire from burning out is your purpose, your why. Fleeting inspiration gets you started, but your purpose keeps you going when excitement fades. It's your internal compass, giving meaning to the struggle and guiding you through moments of doubt. So, stop waiting for the spark. Create it. Reframe your stumbles, celebrate your small efforts, and hold on to your reason. You are the architect of your own momentum. Go build it.
Hello and welcome to Speak Fluent with Armin, the podcast that helps you improve your English. I'm your host Armin, and today Linda is with me. Welcome, Linda.
Hi, Armin. I'm happy to be here.
Today we are talking about a problem that many determined English learners have. You've learned difficult grammar. You can talk about social topics, but you still feel like there's too much to learn. The road to fluency can feel like a very long race with no finish line. Does this sound familiar, Linda?
Definitely. Advanced learners often sit down with many books and apps, but after a little while, their focus is gone. Their motivation goes down, and the temptation of social media becomes stronger and stronger. It's hard to keep going.
Exactly. But what if you could change those long, difficult study sessions into a series of short, focused sprints? That's what we're discussing today. We're looking closely at the Pomodoro technique, a time management method that has been a game changer for millions of people, including language learners.
It sounds simple, and that's why it's so great. It's named Pomodoro, the Italian word for tomato, because the inventor, Francesco Cirillo, used a tomato-shaped kitchen timer when he was a university student in the 1980s.
So he broke his study time into short, 25-minute periods of hard, focused work. These were followed by short, refreshing breaks. This cycle of focus and rest is the secret. It is made to work with your brain, not against it.
And our goal today is to give you a full guide to this technique. We'll explain how and why it works, share some inspiring stories, and give you a complete toolkit to use it for all of your English skills.
So, get your timer ready, turn off your notifications, and let's begin. The clock is ticking, but this time it's helping you. Okay, Linda, let's break down this Pomodoro. At its center, it's a very simple system. Can you tell us the 5 main steps?
Of course. The first and most important step is to choose your task. Before you start the timer, you need a clear goal. A goal like study English is not specific enough and makes it easy to procrastinate, which means delaying your work.
So instead of study English, you should say something like,
Exactly. You should say, I will learn 15 new words about the environment, or I will write the first paragraph of my essay. A specific, clear task gives you a target.
Perfect. What's step 2?
Set the timer for 25 minutes. This 25-minute period of focused work is one Pomodoro. It's long enough to make good progress, but short enough to stay focused without getting tired. You can use your phone's timer, an app, or a real kitchen timer.
And step 3 is the most important rule, right?
It is. Work with full attention. For all 25 minutes, you must be completely focused. This means no checking your phone, no looking at emails, and no getting up for a snack. If you think of something else you need to do, write it on a piece of paper and get back to your task immediately.
What if someone interrupts you, like a friend or family member?
You politely tell them you are in the middle of a focused session and you will talk to them soon. Protecting that 25-minute bubble is very important.
Okay, the timer rings. One Pomodoro is done. What is next?
Step 4. Take a short 5-minute break. This is not optional. It's a necessary part of the process. The break lets your brain rest and process the information you just learned. It is important to step away from your work, stretch, get a glass of water, or look out the window. Don't check social media because that uses mental energy and isn't a real rest for your brain.
Right, a real break for your brain. And that takes us to the last step.
Yes, after you finish 4 Pomodoros, you get a longer break of 15 to 30 minutes. This longer rest is very important to prevent you from feeling tired and to help you concentrate for a long time. Use this time to do something you enjoy. Listen to music, eat a snack, or go for a short walk. It signals the end of a cycle and gets you ready for the next one.
So, 5 simple steps. It almost seems too simple. Linda, why is this technique so good, especially for a difficult task like learning a language?
It's based on a few key ideas from psychology. First, it helps you stop procrastinating. The idea of studying for just 25 minutes is much less scary than a 3-hour study session. This makes it much easier to start.
That makes sense. It breaks a big goal into smaller pieces. What else?
It improves your focus. In today's world with so many digital distractions, being able to focus is a superpower. The Pomodoro technique is like exercise for your focus muscle. When you promise to work on one thing for 25 minutes, you are training your brain to concentrate better.
I was also very interested in how it helps with memory. The breaks are not just for resting, correct?
That's right. They are very important for helping your brain store memories. Science shows that our brains need rest time to process and store new information. Those short breaks help move new words and grammar rules from your short-term memory to your long-term memory.
So every finished Pomodoro is like a small win.
Exactly. This gives you a feeling of progress, which increases your motivation. It creates a positive cycle of work and reward that makes studying more interesting and fun. You also become more aware of your time. You learn how long tasks really take, which helps you plan better in the future.
I love that this technique can be changed to fit anyone. It's a flexible plan, not a strict rule. You have some stories of learners who used it for their own lives. Let's start with Yuki in Tokyo.
Yuki's story is great. She's a busy marketing manager, and her English progress had stopped. She tried to study for 2 hours after her long workday, but she was too tired and wasn't learning anything. It was frustrating.
So, how did the Pomodoro help her?
It was a big change for her. She started with just 2 Pomodoros during her lunch break. 25 minutes of vocabulary practice, a 5-minute break to eat, and then 25 minutes to read a news article. Suddenly, studying felt possible and not like a chore she hated.
What about Javier in Buenos Aires? His problem was difficult, not a lack of time, but a lack of focus.
Yes, a very common problem for students. He would sit down to write an essay, and an hour later, he would be on social media with only a few sentences written. He didn't think 25 minutes was long enough to get into a writing rhythm.
But he tried.
He did. He used 1 Pomodoro to plan his ideas and the next to write the introduction. He was amazed at his progress. The timer created a feeling of urgency, and knowing a break was coming made the work feel less difficult. It gave him the structure he needed to control his wandering mind.
Finally, let's talk about Fatima in Cairo, a stay-at-home mother who wanted to be a freelance translator.
Fatima's challenge was finding any quiet time while taking care of her 2 young children. She started waking up an hour earlier to do 2 Pomodoros. That quiet time in the morning became very special for her studies. The short 25-minute sessions meant she could easily stop if her children needed her and start again later. Her story shows that you don't need a lot of time all at once to make progress. It's the consistency of these small, focused efforts that really makes a difference.
These stories are very inspiring. Now, let's talk about the practical details. How can our listeners use this technique for specific skills? Linda, let's start with the basics, vocabulary and grammar.
Great. For vocabulary, try themed Pomodoros. Instead of a random list of words, focus 1 25-minute session on a specific topic, like business English. For grammar, try grammar in context Pomodoros. Don't just study rules. Spend 25 minutes finding real examples of a grammar point in news articles, then use the next Pomodoro to write your own sentences.
I also like the idea of an error log Pomodoro. You can spend 1 session a week looking at your common mistakes and doing exercises to fix them. Okay, what about your reading?
Advanced reading is about thinking critically, so use active reading Pomodoros. While you read for 25 minutes, underline important points and write questions in the margins. You can also do critical analysis Pomodoros, where you use 1 session to think deeply about the author's opinions or style.
Fantastic. Now for listening. It can be hard to understand different accents and fast speech.
It is, but Pomodoro can help. Try a transcription Pomodoro. For 25 minutes, listen to a short audio clip and write down every single word. It's hard, but very effective. Another great method is the shadowing Pomodoro. Listen to a native speaker and repeat what they say at the same time, copying their pronunciation and rhythm.
Great tips. Let's move to the active skills, speaking. How can we practice speaking clearly and well?
Use topic-based monologue Pomodoros. Choose a topic, maybe from an English exam, and record yourself talking about it for 25 minutes. Then use your break to listen and find things to improve. For pronunciation, do a pronunciation Pomodoro where you focus on one difficult sound and practice it with drills.
And finally, writing. Good writing needs to be well organized and clear.
The key is to break the work into small parts. Start with a free writing Pomodoro to get your ideas on paper without worrying about mistakes. Then use structured writing Pomodoros, one for planning, one for the introduction, one for each paragraph, and one for the conclusion. This makes writing feel less difficult, and always use separate Pomodoros later for editing and checking your work.
This is a wonderful toolkit. For our listeners who know the basics, what are some advanced tips to make their Pomodoro practice even better?
When you are comfortable, you can experiment. First, try changing your Pomodoro length. For creative work, maybe a 45-minute session with a 10-minute break is better. Find what works for you. Second, try Pomodoro batching. This means grouping similar tasks together, like doing 3 vocabulary Pomodoros in a row.
What else?
You can also try an interleaving Pomodoro. Research shows that mixing different skills in one study session, for example, doing 1 vocabulary Pomodoro, then 1 listening, then 1 grammar, can help you learn better and remember more.
Those are great tips, but let's be realistic. It's not always easy. What are some common problems people should know about?
A big one is the just 1 more minute trap. The timer rings, but you want to keep going. Don't do it. The breaks are very important to prevent you from getting tired. Respect the timer.
And the opposite problem, the break that never ends.
Yes, when a 5-minute break turns into a 20-minute trip to social media. Set a timer for your breaks too. Also, don't feel guilty for taking breaks. They are not a sign of weakness. They are a sign of smart learning.
Linda, this has been so helpful and practical. The journey to fluency is long, but breaking it down into these 25-minute sprints makes it feel much more possible.
It's a way of thinking about work that respects your brain. The most important thing is to start small. Try just 1 Pomodoro today. Choose a specific task, set your timer, and feel the success.
The timer is in your hands. Change the plan to fit your style and create your own path to fluency. You can reach your English goals, 1 focused, 25 Pomodoro at a time. Linda, thank you so much for sharing all this great advice with us today.
It was my pleasure, Armin. Happy studying, everyone.
That's all for today on Speak Fluent with Armin.
Hello, English learners, and welcome back to Hayati.English Radio, the podcast where we break down real English from your favorite movies. I'm your host, David.
And I'm your co-host, Linda. It's great to be with you all today. David, I am genuinely excited about today's clip.
Me too, Linda. Today we are diving into one of the most memorable scenes from the beginning of Disney's Zootopia, Judy Hopps' first arrival at the Zootopia Police Department.
It's such a short scene, but it is an absolute goldmine for learning. We're talking slang, grammar, intonation, and even some really important cultural lessons.
Exactly. So, let's get right into our first clip.
Come on! on! He bared his teeth first!
Excuse me? Down here?
Okay, so first up, the expression to bare one's teeth. That's pretty literal, right? It means to show your teeth aggressively like an animal. For example, the angry dog bared its teeth at the mailman.
Simple enough, but the real lesson here is that incredibly common phrase, come on. It's a chameleon, David. It changes its meaning based on the situation.
It absolutely does. In the clip, Nick is using it to show frustration. He's saying, be reasonable, or this is ridiculous. But let's give our listeners some other ways they'll hear it. Linda, how about for encouragement?
Oh, definitely. If your friend is running a marathon, you'd be on the sidelines yelling, come on, you're almost there. You can do it.
Perfect. And it can also mean hurry up. Like when you're trying to get your family out the door, you might say, come on, everyone, or we'll miss the movie.
And my personal favorite, for disbelief. If your friend says they met a huge celebrity, you'd say, you met Chris Hemsworth? Oh, come on. You've got to be kidding me.
Exactly. It's all about context. All right, let's move on. Judy now enters the ZPD and has to get the attention of the officer at the front desk, Benjamin Clawhauser.
Come on! He bared his teeth first!
Excuse me? Down here? Hi.
O-M goodness. They really did hire a bunny.
I love this little line. It's such a perfect, simple example of using intonation. Her voice rises at the end of down here, and that upward inflection is what turns a simple statement into a polite question.
It's a great point. You hear this all the time when people are trying to be noticed without shouting. For example, in a busy cafe, you might lean in and say to the barista, sorry, over here?
Right. Or if you're asking a store clerk for help, you could point and ask, excuse me, the red one? That rising tone is the key. It's polite and effective.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, now for the moment Clawhauser finally sees her. This next line is a treasure trove.
Come on! He bared his teeth first!
Excuse me? Down here? Hi.
O-M goodness. They really did hire a bunny.
Okay, Linda, let's start with that fantastic exclamation. O-M goodness.
This is one of my favorites. It's what we call a minced oath. Basically, it's a polite or playful way to say, oh my God. O-M goodness is very modern and cute.
And there are so many others. Our listeners will hear these constantly.
For sure. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot her birthday. Or, geez, it's cold in here. Geez, by the way, comes from Jesus.
A great point. Now, let's talk grammar. Linda, what's so special about the second part of that line? They really did hire a bunny.
It's that tiny little word, did. He could have just said they really hired a bunny. But by adding did before the verb hire, he's adding a huge amount of emphasis. It shows he's genuinely shocked.
It's such a useful tool. Let's run through some comparisons. A normal sentence would be, I liked the movie. But if you're arguing with a friend, you might say, I know you hated it, but I did like the movie.
Exactly. Or a parent might say, you said he was lazy, but he did finish all his chores. It adds a defensive or emphatic tone. One more. She did tell you about the meeting. I heard her.
Perfect. All right. Clawhauser's next line is just as packed with natural spoken English.
Come on! He bared his teeth first!
Excuse me? Down here? Hi.
O-M goodness. They really did hire a bunny. What? I gotta tell you, you are even cuter than I thought you'd be.
Gotta. If our listeners want to understand spoken English, they have to know about reductions. Gotta is the casual spoken form of have got to.
It's essential. And there are others like wanna for want to, as in I want to go to the park, or gimme for give me, like give me a break.
And kinda for kind of, like this podcast is kinda fun, isn't it? But remember everyone, These are for informal speaking, not for your formal writing.
A very important warning. Now, let's look at even cuter. That word even is an intensifier used in comparisons. It means the reality is more extreme than the expectation.
Yes. For example, I thought the test would be hard, but it was even harder than I imagined. Or, he runs fast, but his sister is even faster.
Exactly.
Oh.
It's okay. Oh, you've actually got, there's a,
What?
in your neck, the fold, there's.
Okay, so the first thing we hear is Judy saying, "That's okay." This is a simple but essential phrase for accepting an apology. It's friendly and immediately tells the other person that they are forgiven.
Absolutely. It's a standard response, but there are others you can use to sound even more natural and reassuring. For example, "Oh, don't worry about it." "Really, no worries. Please, don't even mention it."
Great examples. Now, I love the next part because it's so realistic. Judy stumbles over her words. "Oh, you've actually got..." She self-corrects. This is something native speakers do all the time. It's a reminder that you don't have to speak perfectly to sound fluent.
That's such a key point. And let's look at the words she uses. First, actually, which means in reality or in fact. It's often used to introduce something surprising or unexpected. For instance, "I thought he was American, but he's actually Canadian."
And she says, "You've got," which is just a very common conversational way of saying you have. For example, instead of "you have something on your shirt," you'll almost always hear, "Hey, you've got something on your shirt."
Then she points out the piece of donut in his neck fold. A fold is just a line or crease where something, like skin or paper, is bent over on itself. A simple but useful vocabulary word.
Good morning, and welcome to the news. It's Monday, July 28th, 2025. I'm Amanda, and we have a packed show for you today, covering the biggest stories from around the world. Here are today's top headlines. A Titan partnership. Elon Musk announces a strategic deal between Tesla and Samsung to produce the next generation of artificial intelligence chips. The biggest deal ever? President Trump and the EU unveiled a framework for a massive trade agreement, but experts question if a giant deal is a good deal for Europe. A glimpse into the future. The rumor mill for the iPhone 17 Pro is in full swing, teasing revolutionary changes in design, camera technology, and performance. The box office. The Fantastic Four makes a heroic debut, while Superman and F1 soar past the $500 million milestone. We begin with a bombshell in the tech world. Tesla CEO Elon Musk announced late Sunday night that the automaker has signed a landmark deal with Korean giant Samsung Electronics to secure its supply of semiconductor chips. The news confirms speculation that began after Samsung announced a $16.5 billion supply agreement on Saturday without naming its partner. In a post on his platform X, Musk wrote, "Samsung's giant new Texas fab will be dedicated to making Tesla's next-generation AI6 chip. The strategic importance of this is hard to overstate." Musk added that Tesla will assist in maximizing the plant's manufacturing efficiency, stating, "I will walk the line personally to accelerate the pace of progress." This deal marks a critical move for Tesla in the ongoing AI chips war, especially after Samsung acknowledged last year that it had fallen behind in the race. As of this broadcast, representatives for Samsung have not yet responded to requests for comment. President Trump and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen on Sunday announced the framework of a new trade deal, with both leaders touting it as the biggest trade deal ever. With the United States and the 27-nation bloc trading nearly $2 trillion in goods and services annually, their economic relationship is already the largest in the world. It appears Ms. von der Leyen leveraged this massive scale to get an agreement over the finish line, despite President Trump's long-standing skepticism toward Europe. But as the initial excitement settles, analysts are asking the critical question, is a giant deal necessarily a good deal for Europe? While the pact offers an attractive talking point for a president who fixates on superlatives, the long-term benefits for the EU member nations remain under scrutiny. And now for a look into the future. Even with the launch of the iPhone 17 Pro more than a year away, the rumor mill is in high gear, painting a picture of a dramatic evolution for Apple's flagship device. According to the latest reports, Apple may be swapping the titanium frame for a new aluminum design, complemented by an anti-reflective display with a matte finish. Under the hood, the next-generation A19 Pro chip, paired with a rumored 12 GB of RAM, is expected to deliver a massive boost in performance for Apple Intelligence and multitasking. But the most significant upgrades may come to the camera system. The front camera and the rear telephoto lens are both rumored to get major bumps to 48 megapixels, potentially unlocking 8K video recording. Another exciting rumor suggests users will be able to record video from the front and rear cameras simultaneously. While these are just rumors for now, they signal that Apple is planning major leaps for its next generation of smartphones. And finally, at the box office, superheroes continue to rule the silver screen. Marvel's newest adventure, The Fantastic Four: First Steps, was greeted with a hero's welcome, launching with a mighty $218 million globally. The film's $100 million overseas debut slightly edged out the international launch of Superman earlier this month. Meanwhile, summer's other blockbusters are showing incredible staying power. Both Superman and the racing thriller F1 have now officially crossed the major milestone of $500 million in worldwide ticket sales, cementing their status as two of the year's biggest hits. It's clear that even in a changing cinematic landscape, the power of superheroes remains the key to box office gold. And that's all the time we have for the news this hour. Thank you for joining us. I'm Amanda. Day M. Have a great day.
Hello and welcome back to Hayati in English Radio, the podcast where we deconstruct the art and science of language learning. I'm John.
And I'm Sarah. It's great to be with you today.
This week, an interesting article published right here in Miami caught our eye. It's titled Unlocking Fluency, a practical guide to speaking any language with confidence. We thought it was a fantastic summary of some of the core principles we talk about. So today, we're going to use it as a launchpad. We'll break down its key points and add our own layer of tips, tricks, and stories from learners across the globe.
Exactly. The article is a great roadmap, and we want to add some color to the map. Let's start with the very first point it makes, which I think is the most important one.
Unlocking Fluency, a practical guide to speaking any language with confidence. Miami, Florida, August 4th, 2025. For anyone who has ever dreamed of conversing effortlessly in another language, the concept of fluency can feel like a distant, almost mythical destination. We imagine flawless grammar and a perfect accent, a standard so high it can paralyze us before we even begin. But the truth is, fluency isn't about perfection. It's about connection, communication, and confidence. Achieving fluency is a journey, not a magic trick. It requires shifting your mindset and adopting strategies that integrate a new language into the fabric of your daily life. Here's a practical guide to get you there. Step 1. Redefine your goal. It's about communication, not perfection. The single biggest obstacle for most language learners is the fear of making mistakes. The first step to fluency is to let go of this fear. Native speakers make mistakes. They use slang, start sentences they don't finish, and use filler words. Fluency is not about speaking like a textbook. It's about being able to express your thoughts, understand others, and navigate real-world situations comfortably. Your new definition of fluency, the ability to communicate your point effectively without causing a major breakdown in conversation. Mistakes are not failures. They are evidence that you are trying and learning.
Step 1 in the article is redefine your goal. It's about communication, not perfection. This is the psychological foundation for everything that follows. The author says the biggest obstacle is the fear of making mistakes, and I couldn't agree more. We see learners get paralyzed by what linguists call pragmatic competence versus perfect grammatical accuracy.
That sounds technical, John. Break it down.
Right. Simply put, pragmatic competence is, did you get your point across effectively? Did you successfully order the coffee? Even if you said, I want coffee, instead of the more polite, I would like to have a coffee, please. The article nails it. Fluency is the ability to communicate without a major breakdown.
And this is so true in the real world. I think of Kenji, a learner from Osaka I connected with online. He was learning English for years, but was terrified to speak to tourists. His grammar was amazing on paper, but his fear of making a mistake in front of a native speaker was a huge wall.
How did he get past it?
A tourist asked him for directions to Osaka Castle. He stumbled, mixed up a preposition, and used the wrong verb tense. But he also pointed, used his hands, and managed to say, "Go straight, 2 blocks, big street, turn left." The tourist understood, smiled, and said, "Thank you so much." In that moment, Kenji realized his imperfect English worked. He connected with someone. That was his breakthrough. He redefined fluency as connection, just like the article says.
Step 2. The 2 pillars, massive input and consistent output. To build a house, you need materials and a place to put them. In language learning, your brain is the house, and the pillars that support it are input and output. Pillar 1, massive, comprehensible input. You cannot produce what you have not absorbed. You must surround yourself with the sounds and structures of your target language. 1. Listen actively. Put away your grammar books for a bit and just listen. Start with materials made for learners, like podcasts or YouTube channels. As you improve, move on to authentic content, music, news broadcasts, and TV shows. 2. Start with subtitles in your native language, then switch to subtitles in the target language, and finally, remove them altogether. Read extensively. Start with children's books or graded readers. The simple grammar and vocabulary build a strong foundation. Gradually work your way up to news articles, blogs, and eventually novels. The goal is to absorb the language in a natural context. Pillar 2, consistent, low-stakes output. Knowledge becomes skill only through application. You must activate what you've learned by speaking and writing every single day if possible. 3. Talk to yourself. This is the ultimate low-pressure practice. Narrate your day in the target language. I'm making coffee now. The water is hot. I need milk. It may feel silly, but it builds neural pathways and makes retrieving vocabulary second nature. Find a language partner. Use apps like HelloTalk or Tandem to connect with native speakers who are learning your language. Hire a tutor. Platforms like Italki or Preply offer affordable one-on-one tutoring sessions. A good tutor can provide personalized feedback, correct your mistakes gently, and push you out of your comfort zone.
Next, the article introduces what it calls the two pillars: massive input and consistent output. Let's tackle input first. It emphasizes comprehensible input, which is a key theory from linguist Stephen Krashen. He describes it with the formula I+1. The I is your current level, and the +1 is material that's just a little bit beyond your grasp.
So, not jumping from See-Spot Run to reading a philosophical novel.
Precisely. You need to understand most of what you're hearing or reading for your brain to be able to acquire the new bits. The article's tip about using subtitles is a perfect example of adjusting the difficulty. Start with subtitles in your own language to get the context, then switch to subtitles in your target language. You're bridging the gap.
This reminds me of Maria in Madrid. She was learning English and felt overwhelmed by movies. So, she started watching Friends, a show she had already seen in Spanish dozens of times. Because she already knew the plot and the jokes, she could focus entirely on the English dialogue. She wasn't struggling to understand the story and the language at the same time. It was the perfect, low-stress, comprehensible input.
That's a brilliant hack. Now for the second pillar, consistent output. The article suggests talking to yourself. I know it sounds silly, but it's one of the most effective zero-pressure ways to practice. You're building the habit of thinking in the language.
Oh, I do this all the time. I narrate my drive to work in Spanish. It's my private practice time. But for those who want interaction, the article mentions language exchange apps. We had a listener, Chloe from Quebec, write in about this. She's learning German and uses Tandem to talk to a native German speaker who's learning French. They do 15 minutes of German, 15 minutes of French, twice a week. It's not a formal lesson. It's just a chat. It's the definition of low-stakes output.
Step 3. Learn in chunks, not just words. Instead of memorizing isolated vocabulary words, I want, water, learn functional phrases or chunks. 5. Learn, I'd like a glass of water, please. Our brains are designed to recognize patterns. 6. Learning in chunks helps you sound more natural and reduces the mental energy required to build sentences from scratch. Focus on phrases that are immediately useful for you, such as introducing yourself, ordering food, or asking for directions.
The next two steps in the guide are learn in chunks, not just words, and make it a lifestyle. These are about efficiency and immersion. The idea of learning chunks, like I'd like a glass of water please, instead of individual words, is about giving your brain prefabricated building blocks. It dramatically speeds up your speaking because you're not mentally conjugating verbs and declining nouns for every single sentence.
It makes you sound more natural too. Leo, a user from Rio de Janeiro, was preparing for a trip to Paris. Instead of memorizing a list of food words, he learned 5 key phrases. Je voudrais, l'addition, s'il vous plaît, où sont les toilettes, c'était délicieux, and une table pour deux. With just those 5 chunks, he could navigate almost any restaurant situation confidently.
And that confidence snowballs. This ties into the lifestyle point. The article mentions changing your phone's language. It's a simple, powerful tip. You see the words for settings, messages, and calendar dozens of times a day. It's effortless, spaced repetition.
I have a great example for this. Ingrid, a gamer from Sweden, was learning Korean because she's a huge fan of K-dramas and esports. She found studying textbooks boring, so she switched the language of her favorite online game to Korean. Suddenly, she was learning words for quest, potion, ally, and danger, in a context she found incredibly motivating. She wasn't studying Korean, she was just playing a game.
Step 4. Make it a lifestyle, not a chore. The most successful language learners are those who weave the language into their daily lives. Change your digital environment. Switch the language on your phone, computer, or social media apps. This creates effortless, constant immersion. Integrate your hobbies. Do you love cooking? Find recipes in your target language. Are you a gamer? Switch the game's audio to your target language. Think in the language. This is a powerful step. Start small. When you see a dog, consciously think the word for dog in your target language. As you advance, try to form full sentences in your head. This internal monologue is a crucial bridge to spoken fluency. Navigating the plateau. Every learner hits the dreaded intermediate plateau, where it feels like you're no longer making progress. This is normal. It's a sign that you have moved beyond the basics and are now grappling with more nuanced aspects of the language. To break through, you must identify your specific weaknesses. Is it a particular verb tense, prepositions? Record yourself speaking and listen back. Ask a tutor for targeted feedback. Challenge yourself with more complex material. The plateau isn't a wall, it's a new level of the climb. Fluency is a process of steady accumulation, built from thousands of small moments of exposure and practice. Embrace the journey, celebrate small victories, and never be afraid to speak. Start today with just one phrase. You're already on your way.
Finally, the article tackles the dreaded intermediate plateau. This is where you feel stuck. You've mastered the basics, but you're not advancing. The key takeaway here is that you need to get specific. The plateau is a sign that your general passive learning isn't enough anymore. You have to diagnose your specific weaknesses.
This is where self-analysis becomes crucial. Ahmed, a learner from Cairo trying to perfect his English, felt this deeply. His tutor gave him a fantastic tip. Once a day, he had to record himself on his phone describing a random picture for 60 seconds.
Listening to yourself back. Painful, but effective.
Incredibly! Ahmed realized he always used the same 5 adjectives: good, bad, nice, big, and small. He was fluent, but his language was flat. Seeing that specific weakness, he then actively worked on learning and using more vibrant adjectives. That's what broke him through the plateau: targeted practice on a diagnosed problem.
So, looking back at this article, the path is clear. It starts with your mindset, chasing connection, not perfection. It's built on the twin pillars of massive understandable input and consistent low-stakes output.
And it's accelerated by learning in chunks and weaving the language into your life in ways you actually enjoy. When you hit that plateau, don't despair. Get specific and diagnose your weaknesses.
The final line of the article is the perfect call to action. Start today, with just one phrase.
So find that one chunk you want to learn. I'd like a coffee, please. Where is the station? That's a beautiful dog. Say it out loud. You're already on your way.
That's all the time we have for today on Hayati.English Radio. A big thank you for tuning in.
Join us next time as we explore how music can rewire your brain for language learning. Until then, keep talking.
And as our final song comes to an end, so does our time together. This has been Hayati English, and I'm your host, Armin. It's been a true pleasure sharing this space with you. Remember that learning a language is a journey, not a race. Be kind to yourself, find joy in the process, and celebrate every small victory along the way. If you enjoyed the show, please consider subscribing and sharing it with a friend who is on the same path. Your support means the world. Until we meet again, may your days be full of wonder and your English full of life. Take care.